Hello, my sunshine, and welcome to a new episode of the Hot Girl Morning Podcast. I am so excited to have you here for this very special episode because today we're going to talk about some habits that you can do while living a really busy life, / anything self-love, self-care, personal growth, self-improvement related, because a lot of us have really, really intense, busy lives, and we don't have the time for this basic self-improvement advice that you get out there, which just takes so much time. So if you don't know, my name is Greta. I'm an accountability and empowerment coach, and on this podcast I talk about all things personal growth, mindfulness, self-love, manifesting your dreams, and becoming the best version of yourself. So if any of these topics sound interesting to you, make sure to follow this podcast, maybe rate it 5 stars, and send this episode to a friend who might benefit from listening to this. But without further talking, let's continue talking because we're on a freaking podcast. So basically a couple of days ago, I had a conversation with someone who listens to my podcast over on Instagram. And she was basically sharing with me, hey, Greta, I love what you do. And I would love to do all the things that you're always talking about, but I don't have the time for that. Like, my schedule is full and it's so hard for me to implement these things. And it kind of really got me thinking. It got me thinking because most of us, we really have a busy life. We have multiple jobs, we have families to take care of, and there are just so many aspects to it where you don't have 3 hours for your morning routine where you can focus completely on yourself. And that is just something that is maybe possible to someone who has a different job, but for most of us, it is not possible. If I'm being really transparent, of course, I have my own business, so I have more freedom with my time, but this freedom also comes at a cost. Most self-improvement books are written by men, and they go something like this. You start your morning at 5 a.m., then you do your 1 hour meditation. Afterwards, you go to the gym and you do your 1.5 hour fitness training, and then you get your green smoothie and protein, whatever it is. And afterwards, you're getting back at your business where you make multiple $1 million a year or something like that. And the truth of this is, these men would not be able to have these amazing, beautiful routines if it wasn't for the wife. The wife that is taking care of the kids, the wife that is taking care of the house, the wife that is having all the mental load. And I think just a lot of these tips that you get from outside are not really easily applied to our own lives, because maybe you are going to university and at the same time you have a side job and you want to get to know people and spend time with your friends, and then you have a relationship, or you're struggling with finding a relationship, and then you need to take care of your body, and there's just so many aspects. You need to cook, you need to clean, and this is just sometimes a bit exhausting. And if on top of all the things that you're already doing, you also need to implement this 2-hour morning routine, because this is the ultimate morning routine that will get you to success. These are the ultimate books that you need to read to get to success. Like, that is exhausting. And I feel like that gets us to the point of having the feeling that you need to tick off things of your to-do list. And it is not about the habit itself anymore, but it is about, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to take care of myself. Okay, this will probably, and it's just so much and so exhausting. And today I want to focus more on that, women living busy lives, and what are some things that we can implement? Because I don't think it is necessarily about spending 3 hours in the morning doing something for yourself, but it can be so much more simple. I love if you are able to do that. Like, amazing. You go, girl, continue doing that. And if you have the time to go on solo dates, please continue to do so. But this episode will be more for the busy kind of people. And I'm going to be honest also right here, I am not a mom. So I don't have children. I'm not going to tell you how it is when you have children, please just listen to what I'm saying, and maybe there's something that you can take for yourself. I did babysitting and I have nephews, and I have spent a lot of time with them, but this is not compared to being a mom. So just want to put that out. But this is maybe also for other people who just have a really intense job and are trying to fit everything together with spending time with friends, with family, getting to know people, it's just a lot. Like, it is a lot. And then you're also spending time on social media, and it is just, you see the highlight perfect of everyone's life and their perfect morning routine and night routine. And maybe I am a tiny bit contributing. I hope I'm not contributing to that negative feeling, but I like my morning. But yeah, okay, my mind gets into different directions. So let's get back to the here and now. I think first and foremost, these habits that you want to implement for your life, they shouldn't feel like something that you need to tick off your to-do list. These things are about you and helping you to make you feel good. These are not things that you need to do. Like, this is something that you do for yourself. And I want you to recognize that these habits are an act of self-love and not this feeling of you need to do. No, you do not need to do anything besides die, because this is what we will all do. But I want you to see the ritual that you're creating, or whatever habit you are able to fit in your schedule, that you do that for yourself, that you do that as an act of self-love and not an act of self-hatred, because you have this constant feeling that you need to improve yourself because you are not okay the way you are, because that is not the truth. You're worthy right now in this moment. Maybe your life is messy. You have so many things going on in your life, and that is okay. That is okay, but you are worthy right now. You're worthy of so much love. And it doesn't make a difference if you have time for your meditation or yoga or anything that makes you feel good or not. This is about you. And I think the advice that I have in general for you is, it is less about these busy kind of habits, but more about that silence and finding a way to connect with yourself, even though that you're having a really busy life. Even with this busy life, you get to create time to connect with yourself, and really importantly, realize what you need. Because this is something that this real, or just in general, really stressful life, it's sometimes so easy to get away from that. You're just so much in your day-to-day life that you cannot even think straight anymore. Like, it is just all a lot. So it is not about the amount of time you spend doing something, but it is about how you're doing something. And especially when you're living a busy life and you have a crazy schedule, this is really important to know. What we're going to focus on is, it's kind of going to be like the 80-20 rule. Sometimes the small right things can have a huge impact. And it is not about implementing all the habits, but it is about doing what makes you feel good. And it is about finally starting to listen to yourself. Because yes, I'm here and I'm giving you advice, and 1,000 or millions of other people are also out there giving their advice. But one thing that I'm going to tell you is, there is no one size fits all. Maybe there's something that works for your neighbor or your friend, but that doesn't work for you. So I think what it comes down to is realizing what you need and what makes you feel good. What is it that is taking your energy and draining your energy? And what is it that is giving you energy? I think this is a really great place to start, just to realize in general your energetical capacity. And something I also want to add to that whole conversation is the fact that often we think like when we take time to think about what are the habits that I want to do, what is the ritual, what is the routine, like when we are thinking about that, we think about when you're feeling good or when you're having a lot of energy. But a lot of the times it's the evening, you just got back from your work, you maybe put your child to bed and you are exhausted. And you do not have the energetical capacity to be like, okay, now I'm doing my 1 hour yoga and meditation. And you're just like, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. And that is completely fine. So let's be aware of our energetical capacity and feel free to think about, to reflect about, to write down whatever it is for you. What is it that is taking your energy? And what is it that is giving your energy? Because that is just a really important information for us to have as a starting point. Because often we're doing things that we're not even aware how draining they are. And by creating boundaries and by just realizing more about ourselves, it's easier to handle them. And yes, I know often it is not possible to to eliminate like all the energy drainers. In most cases, it's not really possible. But if you have the awareness, there is a way also to handle these things differently. One more small thing that I want to add in the beginning to this whole conversation, I think as women, we're good with multitasking a lot of the time. So if there is something that really makes you feel good, you can also think about combining things. So something like if you're driving to work, you can maybe listen to music that makes you feel good, or listen to a podcast, or have a conversation with a friend. Just become more aware of what are things that you can combine. But the really important thing is that these things shouldn't feel like a chore and another thing to do and I need to improve no. This should feel something, as I said before, like an act of self-love, of self-care that, okay, I feel like this would help me right now feel better, then do whatever that is. But now we're getting to the main point of it all. So how do you implement habits and self-love stuff? I don't know how to name this yet. If you don't know, like I never have the name planned out for the podcast episode before I record, while recording it. So this is why I'm just talking like this. But what I was trying to say is basically the habits that you're going to implement. It is not about the time you spend on them, but it is so much more about the feeling that it creates for you. It is so much more about the energy and the feeling that it creates for you. So what do we need for that? In general, we need to create more awareness of what energy you are craving. So let's say, for example, in the morning, some people are really like, okay, I want to get out of my bed. I want to feel full of energy. I want to do things, get things done, and just feel good. For some people, that is the way to go. And there are other people who are just like, okay, I want to have a calm moment to myself and just really feel present and peaceful and connected and not immediately rushed and stressed by life. So become more aware of what it is that you want. And again, I am also aware that for a lot of us, it is not really possible to just say to our kids, okay, then just be silent and sit in the corner. And that's not going to work. But still, there is a component to it if you are aware of what you want, that it is easier to kind of get towards this direction. So just in general, be aware of that. And as I said, I think now a lot of times it is not about the amount of time that you spend. I think the number one thing that I would recommend you to do, if that feels right for your life and for what you're doing in your life, is about creating little check-ins with yourself. Check-ins where you realize how you're feeling, what you need, and what is going on. And it is basically the habit that you could focus on most is about creating a moment of silence and presence. Because in this world, I believe that we're often kind of oversaturated. There is so much information being bombarded at you through your phone, through the media, through news and politics that is going on. And then there's just things happening in your life. And this is just so much. So I think the art of it all is to create space to kind of remove yourself from that, so that the chilling version of yourself is not immediately 24/7 on their phone, but that the chilling version of yourself gets a moment to take a deep breath and just be really in the moment. I think I kind of recently created an episode that was called something like 5 unique habits to create success or something like that. I will link it in the show notes below. But maybe also get back at that, because I think these are very special habits that you can make like really, really small and really, really easily applicable to, it just takes like 10 minutes out of your day, or maybe 2, It is however you want to play it out. But what if you would start your day differently? What if instead of immediately going through your phone or immediately jumping out of bed, you would take a moment for yourself to take a deep breath and maybe another deep breath, and first become aware of where you are and the present moment of just feeling connected with being alive and being on this earth. Having this moment of gratitude and of having this bigger picture of life. Because as I said before, like in this day-to-day life, I feel like we're just in this wheel that is spinning and we can't seem to stop. But what if you would take a moment to kind of look at life in this different perspective? Look at life with more gratitude, but also with like this calm energy. And what I mean with that is just this awareness of, okay, it is a new day with new opportunities waiting for me. Let me take a deep breath and remind myself of how amazing I am and how capable I am to tackle this day. Like, what if you would start your day with this kind of energy and the awareness that we are just this tiny, tiny little dot in this huge, huge universe. And I think sometimes thinking about like how so small we are, like it makes me realize how crazy it is that we are alive. And your chance of being born is 1 in 400 trillion. Like 1 in 400 trillion. And with this awareness, I want you to treat life more as a gift. So you start your morning by taking really deep breaths and by listening within, giving yourself maybe a short pep talk. And one thing that I really like to do, that I think that I also mentioned in that other episode about the different habits, is basically doing these kinds of check-ins. So how does a check-in look like? A check-in is basically a ritual that you're creating to make it a more conscious decision to look within and to realize what you need and how you feel and what is going on. It is like a tiny snippet of time that you're taking throughout your day to notice yourself better, to be more aware, to be just more in the moment and more present. So for me, it is really focused on 2 things. On one hand, taking a look at what is going on in my mind. So really look internal and get reflective, kind of, okay, what do I feel right now? How do I feel right now? What emotion do I feel right now? What energy do I feel right now in my body? What is it that I'm feeling? Oh, I'm just exhausted by another day. Or is it that, okay, I'm glad to be here with me right here, right now. Just become really aware of what is going on in your mind. Like, what are the things that are really on your mind and maybe also weighing on your mind? Really take just this moment to really become aware of what is going on internally. And then you can move towards your body and be just like, okay, what sensations do I feel in my body right now? Like, how does my body feel right now? Okay, it maybe feels sore from the gym, or it feels sore, or you feel energized. just create this tiny awareness within your day, or especially in the morning, but also within your day, to look at your mind and at your body. And at the same time, you can also ask yourself, okay, what do I need right now? So instead of focusing on a very strict routine, which has kind of a lot of masculine energy, I like to focus more on creating the space for my intuition to come through. And I think that is one thing that is so powerful about us women, that we have such a powerful intuition. And if we create the space for that intuition to come through, like, this is really where powerful things are built. So really get internal. What do you need right now? And maybe it is just these 5 minutes of listening to your favorite song and having like a soul dance party. Maybe it is to get outside on the balcony and take a deep breath. But basically what I am telling you to do is, instead of following 1,000 different habits, the most important thing for you to do is to create a moment of presence, a moment of silence, where you can truly finally listen to yourself. Because there is so much distraction always happening that we are not able to hear what our intuition, what our inner self, our higher self is telling us. So what I am telling you to do is to create space to listen within. And you will not be able to listen to anything that is going on internally if you're completely overstimulated, because there's just so much going on and you have the TV on and the news and everything. So this is the main thing. It is about taking that time of silence. It is not about doing all the different habits and doing everything. It is about taking that time to listen within. Because there's a version of yourself that has all the answers for you. And if you create that space to listen to this version of yourself, they're going to tell you what you can do. If you maybe have 30 minutes for yourself, if you have 10 minutes for yourself, this inner self, this higher self is telling you what you need to do. Maybe it is realizing that you feel really exhausted and it is just a lot. And then you decide to just, for 10 minutes, like, lay on your bed, listen to music and do nothing. Maybe you realize you need to get out to nature. That is in general something I think with these last years and everything becoming more modern and everything, we have lost a bit the connection to nature. But nature is something, I want to insert a quote. Like, this is something my friend once told me. In the city, people are looking for other people to feel connected, because everything else is dead, like the buildings, like, it is not a living being. But in nature, we're often so okay with being alone because there is so much living and life surrounding us. And when she told me that, I thought that was kind of interesting. But I'm getting back to today's point, which is the main important thing for you is, whatever you're doing, do it out of a place of self-love and create the space to listen within. Do not listen to all the advice that you hear out there of everything that you're supposed to do. Like, really listen within. And if you feel like there are a lot of things on your schedule, really, after listening within, out of that pure higher self, inner voice, whatever you want to call this, take your notebook and sit down and write your thoughts down. Maybe you have a really busy day ahead. Maybe you have just a lot of things going on. Whatever it is, try to really sit down and kind of get the clarity. What do I really need to get done today? So really create a structure within your day and kind of break it down. What is the most important thing for me to do? I feel like I'm now kind of getting into what I'm doing in my business, because I am helping people get clarity and break it down, and also do like mindset stuff and all that. But let's not distract myself right now and get back to what I want to talk to you about today. So the main point that I want to make is create that space, as I said, for self-love, to listen to what you need. And I know that silence sometimes is scary, because in those silent moments, sometimes the thoughts that you normally suppress are coming up, but that is okay. That is okay. We're going to move through them, okay? And after doing these check-ins, maybe even regularly throughout your day, you will have more awareness about what you need and what you don't need, and what you want to have more of in your life and what you want to have less of in your life. Something I sometimes like to suggest to clients or anyone basically is, especially in the beginning when you're not used to doing these kinds of check-ins, I have a reminder going on my laptop, and it's basically I remind myself every hour, and I have like this affirmation of you're capable to achieve anything you want. And whenever I see this affirmation, I know this is a time for me to take a deep breath, really become present, and just have a moment to myself. You don't have to do this every hour, maybe every 2 hours for the beginning, just for the first 2 days, so it becomes more of a habit for you to listen within. But this check-in, like, it's okay if it only takes like 30 seconds. And I think 30 seconds is maybe the amount of time that you have to spare. And within this time, you can ask yourself what you really need. And then you can give yourself what you really need. Instead of trying to do everything, just try to do whatever you need in this moment. Okay, I hope that this episode was helpful to you. If you have anything you want to share about this topic, did it help you? Did it not help you? Do you have any further questions? You can just ask me in the comments below. Or if you want to ask me privately, you can just go over on my Instagram at greta.webhofer at greta.webhofer, and let me know there. Thank you so much for being here. If you believe that this episode would be helpful to anyone, make sure to send it to them. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.